I knew I was going to forget
Oh
that too.
shit. Oh shit. I hit the live button. I'm
Uh-oh.
live. Time for you to
Bear's
join.
live.
It's 401.
It's 4:01.
Get
Howdy,
up.
Bear.
Get on
I'm
it.
getting my stream going as we speak.
I'm still waiting for make sure I got the right stream going because this thing is slow. There it is. Yes.
Howdy, all.
All right.
Howdy,
So
howdy to all. Welcome to Fast Charging with BnB, the world's best podcast on any topic of any sort ever.
and guess what
I'm,
this is? Guess what
uh,
this is, Brian?
Tell me.
Happy anniversary!
Yay,
Yay!
it's our anniversary, Bear. Did you get me some flowers?
I got you some articles.
Yay.
Yeah.
Oh,
We should have brought drinks for our anniversary to celebrate. I don't think that would have been. No, no, I meant like something like whatever's
you
in
meant the
there,
good stuff.
like drink the dragon or something like that. I don't.
Mm.
I don't even know what's in there.
It's fun. I should have gotten you some perfume. I hear burnt hair is all the rage.
Ooh, yeah, I've heard about that. That is odd.
It, it's not a new idea. Isn't that what Gwyneth Paltrow's candle was scented like? At least according to her laser tech.
To be honest with you, I really don't read articles on perfume and stuff like that because I've just got my manly smell. I should bottle that and sell it because I don't really care about those smells. As long as somebody doesn't smell like a pig or a cow farm, hey, I'm good. Speaking
All
of
right.
smells, okay, my dog is not in here. He's had some bad gas lately and he needs some perfume.
That is today's theme. We're going to be talking about pepperoni dog farts all day.
Oh, it was worse than that.
John says, not much burnt hair from Brian. No, no,
All right.
no.
Hey, before we get going, I got to thank Mark for the super chat. I
Super.
appreciate that. He gave me a dancing pear, and thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah. A jiggly pair on our anniversary is what everybody wants.
Yes, and
Hmm.
I think we have to mention the anniversary after every article.
Oh, that seems like Mary led.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking. Mary
Hmm.
led us to our first anniversary.
So, Lotus has got a new car coming out.
They do. They do.
85 grand, 900 horsepower, and it's the same shape as
Everything
every
else.
other. I mean, it's nice. With the camo off, it looks a lot nicer.
I'm sure it would because that camo really takes away from what we really want to see.
Well, I
Uh,
went to the slideshow,
Oh, well
the
then
gallery.
we will too on our little gallery. Okay. Kind of
Yeah.
looks like an EV6 on the first picture, the gray one, an elongated Kia EV6.
Hmm.
That's what I see. Same thing on number two.
It's a good
Yeah,
style.
yeah,
This will this will sell.
yeah. Oh, well, the price is kind of, a lot. That is a lot. Um, just to be clear though, when I say it looks like the EV6, that's not a knock. I actually like the EV6 looks.
Yeah. And it is a good I do like the style once I saw it without the
Yeah,
wrap. But it's great. 112 kilowatt hour battery pack.
that
Ooh,
is
that's heavy.
that that is a big battery pack. Do they have any specs on this as far as range?
I have not seen them. Click
Y-
on full story.
Yeah.
Hmm. No.
304 WLTP.
Oh no, on a 112 kilowatt hour pack. Well,
Um,
that's hmm,
well, it also says 373 miles on a full charge.
mhm.
So, not exactly sure which one it's going to be. We'll have to see. But 373 WLTP will probably be equivalent to about 340, which is not bad
No.
for today's standards. Maybe on our
Yeah.
second anniversary, we'll be looking back and going, ooh, 340 sucks.
I don't think the market's going to move quite that quickly.
Maybe on our 20th anniversary, we're going to look back and go, that kind of sucks.
Look back and go, cars.
Remember when they couldn't fly?
No, I don't. I don't remember that at all.
Well, in 20 years, I won't remember much of anything.
You know who else has got a car? Canoe.
Can you
Yeah,
canoe?
still not out of business, which is great.
Yeah,
It's
I'm going to start from that 34-second mark.
yeah, I'm started right around there.
Yeah, uh, found this video, a nice inside view of the canoe. Really interesting sectional couch that they have in there. I think that's cool. I'm not sure how practical it is, but I just thought it looked good because you've got all that empty space. That I don't know what do you put in the middle there? Like they should have a table there, you know.
Yeah,
But and
yeah.
the glass roofs are nice. Uh,
That little front window
mhm,
out onto the rock chip zone is nice.
yeah. So, yeah, there's like right behind the A pillar that is big, and you can actually use it. You know, you could see through
Yeah.
it.
And I saw one of these at fully charged, and it's cool.
Oh, it's got a yoke
I can
steering wheel. I didn't realize that.
I didn't recall that. I can see that.
That one does.
Um, I can see why the United Launch Alliance would want this for their astronaut shuttle vehicle
Mm-hmm.
because it is, as a shuttle, perfect. Much else, I don't know. Would have to see.
Yeah, we
I sure
definitely
hope
will.
they. Ooh, I sure hope they make it
I do. It's so cute. I just want to. Well, I'm not going to say that again, but it is very cute, even though it looks like a capsule. Um, I've got people in my chat talking, or someone's. Have you seen the stupid questions people are asking about Nikola Q3 earnings? I have not, but if you want to put some of them up there, maybe we'll make some conversation out of it because that stuff's always kind of funny.
Yeah, the investor questions, yeah, can be. You'll get people saying, "Why aren't you using cold fusion?" So, well, it's not quite ready for deployment, but okay,
Uh, Dr. Octavio has not quite finished his fusion machine,
soon,
but
soon.
if he goes to school, he might learn how to do it. Good, nice. You like that?
Nice. So I like these electric school buses because they probably don't weigh too much more than the Hummer.
No, they probably don't. Um,
Ah,
they don't have very large battery packs, considering their size. Their range is very limited, but it's perfect for what it is. Uh,
right.
I think they're a 128-mile range, um, but they're looking at saving 6,500 gallons of diesel fuel per day by swapping out all their diesel trucks. That is an enormous amount of money.
Yes.
I'm very impressed. It was 138 miles with a 226 kilowatt battery. By the way, those are the specs.
Hmm. That's kind
But
of a big battery.
that is a big battery, but I guess they need that to get to the 138 miles. And I would assume that no bus in that fleet needs to drive more than that in a day. And
Right.
I assume that would be morning and afternoon pickups. Now, the one place where they can't use these might be on field trips. If they have a, sometimes you get field trips that are like 50, 60 miles away.
Sure.
Um, but they're going to replace a lot of these and get a lot of diesel costs away. This is a really good move. I'm very impressed with this. I like the fact that they got charging stations in front of each one. I would assume that they're probably not DC chargers. They're probably level two, probably 11 kilowatt charging. I don't know, something like that, so that they're not that expensive.
So we got a couple comments here. John points out that school buses are not very aerodynamic. Yes, but they also don't generally go on the highway very much, not on daily routes at least. And David points out that school buses can also charge during while the kids are in school if they needed to. But I don't see a bus going over 60 miles on the morning route, even though they're doing, 2, 3 schools over the course of the morning.
Yeah. So
I think the range is, and the biggest thing is, if your range is going to work for your application. This isn't a station wagon where you're not sure what your use case will be in 2
hmm
years.
right.
You've got this dialed in.
Yeah, and then besides the savings on the diesel, which we already can see is substantial if that's how much you're using in a day, you've got your maintenance savings. Of course, you're going to have the cost of electricity, but it's going to be substantially lower. So I think this
Yeah.
is pretty darn good.
Yeah. And with all the stop and go, you get the benefit of regenerative braking. You're not choking the kids with diesel fumes. You're not creating all that extra noise. It's great.
Yeah. When you get a chance, take a look at my chat. Norton's putting up all the stupid questions from the investors.
Mhm. Okay. Wow. When's your first vehicle coming on the road? Um, in the past, it already has happened.
Yeah, yeah. As of
Are they producing trucks yet? Oh yeah, that's true. Are they are they how do you
how can you follow the company and not know that?
do you have to call home every day to get directions? Figure out how to get back home? Yeah. Why why did the company merge with RMO? What's that?
Romeo.
Oh,
And they I wouldn't say they merged. I would say they took over.
fired.
They make the battery packs. They own the battery pack design, and they package all the battery packs. So by doing that, they're looking at saving hundreds of millions of dollars a year on what they would have to pay for battery packs by now owning Romeo.
Hmm. Chelsea wanted to know, do they charge all those buses overnight? And will that overload the system? They do charge them overnight. That is when electricity has the lowest demand at present and offers the best rates. So no, it will not overload the system. Even
Especially,
California.
yeah, especially if these are level 2 chargers sitting at
Mhm.
11 kilowatts. It's enough time to recharge them, and they're not draining the system.
Yeah. And you can see the chargers. There's a picture somewhere on this article, or I saw one. There it is, right at the top.
Yeah, right at
Yeah,
the
those are
top.
just little, yeah. Okay. Um, yeah. And William, on your channel, wondering if hydrogen fuel tech has the potential to clean dirty or polluted water.
I
I
think
don't know
what would
how.
happen is once you get your hydrogen out of the dirty water, you're just left with dirt.
Yeah,
And
you got more dirt.
yeah,
Uh, but hydrogen, how's that going?
oh, or hydrogen. That one. Where is that one? Did you skip?
Well, Toyota is reportedly
Oh,
considering hitting the reset button on its EV transition.
yeah,
Yeah, you're right. I've got the right one. I was just my brain wasn't working right.
yeah. You jumped.
I did in my head, but not. We got this.
Oh
So
no, we're gonna
Toyota.
totally lose it on our anniversary.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, so Toyota finally announced their electric vehicle strategy last year, but new reporting suggests that they're back to the drawing board because, well, I'll be honest, it wasn't a good plan.
No, it wasn't. And your buzz forks can't keep the wheels on, which really has nothing to do with being an electric car, but it's kind of an omen, if nothing else. So
Yeah,
I,
yeah. Toyota's dealing with an EV manufacturing process that's too slow and expensive.
yeah,
Yeah,
and they're the ones out there screaming that it's too hard to make, it's too expensive, people don't want it. But the reality is that with the way they're doing it is too expensive and it's too slow, and they're not making things that people want. They
mhm.
did great with the Prius, and I almost every one of their vehicles now is available as a hybrid of some sort, and that's fantastic. These guys were the leaders. This was the real Mary Barra of 15, 20 years ago, and they built something that was really good, but they don't want to take the next step. They're afraid. Don't know why.
John says Toyota put the B team on the EV wheels. Well, I think they put the B team on. I think they put the C team on the entire EV program.
Yeah, I think I might have been involved in the design of this because I don't know crap on how to do this. So they might have I might have consulted on this. Yeah, I said make the fenders black. It's going to go over well.
Yeah, I really want. I really. They show you the prototype, and you're like, it's perfect. Stop. But we need to pay. No, 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 no. You got it. You don't mess with perfection. I
Yeah.
don't know, Homer. All right. So Ford earnings on deck after GM affirms outlook despite headwinds.
Yeah.
How are the big dogs doing?
Well, Ford's announcing tomorrow, so we'll be able to look at that next week. GM is just more or less spouting off that they're going to just be making a whole bunch of EVs. So they're really struggling because I think they made 500 Hummer and Lyrics last quarter. 500. I almost got no fingers for that.
Wow.
And that is not good when they're predicting.
Yeah.
The company aims to deliver 400,000 EVs in North America through 2023. They delivered 500 last quarter.
But you know what an improvement that
Uh,
is from Q4?
yeah, well, I'm sorry. They did 500 for the Hummer and the Lyric, and
Oh, yeah.
those are going to be their money makers. The Bolt, they're ramping up production. We talked about this I think last week, and I personally have seen Bolts at the Chevy dealership. Just people every time I'm there, and unfortunately I'm there a lot, and it is a Chevy dealership. They've got Bolts and people are buying them every day when I go there. But what are they doing with the Hummer and the Lyric? I don't know because I really want my Hummer to come in. I think they're awesome, and I can't wait to drive one of those around.
Jeff points out, just think, if Toyota and Daimler had kept their Tesla stock, they could have bought a bunch of EV factories.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah, they were so excited. They took stock and it went up a little bit. Quick, sell it, sell it. It'd be yeah, they would be an investment bank at this point if they had just. But if they were able to pick winners and losers, they wouldn't be losers themselves.
Yeah.
Shake your money makers merry. Oh, Jeff. Oh, Jeff.
No, we're good. We're good.
But some good news out of Ford.
Yeah. The sandbaggers that they are, they said that the Ford Lightning was going to be around 4.5 seconds from 0 to 60. And it turns out they were off. And it was more like 4 seconds, which is very impressive for a vehicle that size. And while 0 to 60 is not something you need a lot, but it sure is a whole lot of fun to zip and zoom around traffic and having that
It's not
power.
like they're optimizing for 0 to 60.
Yeah,
It's just a byproduct of having a powerful drivetrain in an EV.
right. And that's when you're on the freeway, you can find yourself getting out of situations very quick where someone might be merging into your lane and you can't back up, but you can escape by going faster. I've had
Yeah.
that happen already, and the power is there and it's instant. So, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. It's a 4 second video. Thanks, Jim Farley. Uh, yeah. And I'm just excited that I just hope that they're not losing too much money on this because nothing will kill it quicker than not making money.
Uh, that's true. That's true. But I think Ford and GM are both in for the long haul. Whether they fail or win, remains to be seen. But GM is just pushing all sorts of stuff out. They had the Denali last week, which is just a rebadged Silverado. They've got the Equinox, they've got the Blazer, they've got the Hummer, the Silverado. I mean, all of these are future products that they're very close to throwing out at us.
2 Cadillacs.
Oh yeah, the Cadillac Lyric. So, and I'm sure I'm forgetting a couple, but
The Celestique.
oh yeah, but that's 500 of those. That must be a magic number for
Right.
them. They're only going to sell 500 of them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Well, they're getting back to their roots of making bespoke hand-built Dusseldorfs.
yeah, well, they should put some fins on that thing. That will impress me.
That would be pretty interesting.
Well, they already took a lot of 80s designs. Let's go back to the 50s.
Speaking of trucks, new
Cybertruck.
yeah, new Tesla Cybertruck body spotted within Giga Texas. So it's interesting that these are leaked photos. They appear leaked. We saw these outside. Joe Tetmeyer had caught them wrapped up and inside, and I want to say Whole Mars Catalog tweeted the picture of it to Elon, and he said, "What did he say? You caught me," or something like that.
Oh,
What did
oh,
he say?
like he was the one that leaked it, or
No,
or is someone getting fired?
no, because it was photos from the air.
Oh, I thought you were talking about these photos right here.
Yeah, no, these ones I hadn't seen these before today. Before you sent them to me, a vigilant guy took some photos inside Gigafactory, Texas. I would sure like to know what the legality of sharing non-public information is, because I've received some conflicting opinions, and I have sometimes interesting non-public information that I wish to share. Um, so, any attorneys out there, let me know. Armchair attorneys work too. If you guys provide a link to
Um,
help me understand.
so did Joe catch just one body out there, or how many bodies were out there?
Two.
Two.
Yeah, but they were wrapped just like this. They were under this white plastic.
Yeah. Well, that's probably one of them.
Yeah.
It's interesting they have a carrier for it. I wonder if that was made for Cybertruck carrier.
So I asked. I had read an interesting theory on from one of my viewers saying, because the front casting uses less material than the rear casting, at least on the Model Y, could the Cybertruck use the 6,000-ton press to make the front casting and the 9,000-ton press to make the rear? Sandy said no. Sandy Monroe said no. They could use an 8,000-ton press if they wanted to, but I think they'll just do a pair of nines so they have flexibility.
Nice.
There we go.
I wish we could see some progress on that.
Ready for shipment for Austin. I thought it was already in Houston. Do I know anything? Not about the press. I do not know anything about the press. So
4Q says probably trucks built with lumber than wrapped. I don't think so.
no.
Come on.
Well,
I don't think any company ever would fake a truck.
these jokes are going downhill fast.
Yeah. Maybe we need to get a little raunchy or something.
Lucid, they got a new $1,200 at-home EV charger that can add 80 miles of range per hour.
That's pretty good.
Substantial.
Yeah. 19.2 kilowatt charging station, which also will be bidirectional at some point. I'm pretty impressed by that. You do need an 80 amp circuit in order to use it.
I've lived in houses that only had 100 amps.
Yeah, it is a very high on the requirements, and getting an 80 amp in there.
Yeah.
But if you
Yeah.
could afford a $140,000 car, chances are you're not living in an older home. You've got a new home with probably new electricity, wiring, and things like that. My house.
Well, and a service channel is only a couple grand.
No,
Oh, really? It's gone up?
I was. Side story. Guess what I got today?
Is it 5 cars?
No, that was a month ago. I got my LG battery replaced.
It's finally going?
It, well, I haven't seen it on the monitoring system that it's actually working, but it takes a while to update. But they say it's in and it's working. And I was talking to the 3 fine gentlemen who are much nicer than the rest of their company, who replaced this 200-pound battery in a closet in my house. 9.6 kilowatt LG battery, probably taken out of an old bolt and recycled. Hope not. So that is finally up and running after a 2-year recall. But I was talking to him about my panel. I've got a 200 amp panel, and then I've got sub panels coming off of that are 100, a couple of them, and often I have things trip when I run 2 chargers at the same time on the weekend, 2 EV chargers, and then my pool is on. It will trip the breaker because it's too much. Because one charger is 60 amp, the other one's 40 amp, and then you got the pool running, which is running on a 100 amp circuit, not using that much, but it'll trip breakers. So 80 amp is a lot. We were talking about replacing my panel with something that was probably like a 400 amp, but the run to my electrical line to the street is probably about 150 feet. You've seen it. So they said you'd probably be looking about like, because if you're replacing the panel and to increase your amperage, you have to replace the line to the street. Okay.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. And that
Oh, that's you're done. That's
yeah.
prohibitive.
So they said you'd probably be looking at about $15,000.
Right, because you're not hiring an electrician, you're hiring a lineman.
You're right. Right. And also, I don't know about all utility companies, but I know that mine, you pay a static charge every month. It's the same price, and it's based on what your amperage is coming in. So if you have a 200 amp line coming in, they charge you, like I think mine is like $36. That's my base charge because I have a 200 amp line. If I went to a 400, it might be $90 base charge.
Wow.
So that's an additional expense that never goes away.
Right.
And
John wants to know, what is the temperature range for your battery to operate? And if the AC goes off, could your battery get too hot
you're talking about in
in
my
the
house,
closet?
in the
Yeah.
closet. Well, what is the temperature range? We haven't. Well, I can't say we haven't had a problem. The battery already blew up once because of some sort of faulty manufacturing. But this LG battery was they would only install it inside the house. They would not install it outside like a power wall, which is, by the way, one of my biggest regrets, not getting power walls. And I got this LG battery. So only inside, and it had to be, I think it was 35 feet from the panels. So we were very limited as far as where we could put it. Now we had a bedroom on the other side of where the inverters were going, so we were able to put it in there. They didn't really give me a temperature range. Our AC does get cut off at certain times of day during peak times. It will run one AC unit but not the other because it's got a management system that controls how many kilowatts you're using at one time because of demand fees and all these things that I have for that. I wonder about, like, just like the school buses, you know, are they do they have demand fees? Do they have something worked out with the electric company? The cost to get those panels run in so that they had enough power to power those buses. That's a huge factor in all these. It goes much further beyond than just the price of buses. How to get the mini infrastructure for a school bus fleet, or for my house. I've got 2 charging stations. I want to have more. We're getting another EV in a couple weeks, so we have to either be very careful about our rotation and how we use it. Very important.
Viewer Jason wants to know if we saw the video of Sandy Monroe showing the inside of electric wall units. Did you see that one?
Yes, I just saw that one today.
Terrifying. I'm looking to see if I can find it here. I'm struggling to find it. But it was pretty shocking to see. I'm not finding it. Pretty shocking to see. These things are not often designed for more than, a dryer. So it's constructed assuming it'll be used an hour a day at most. And now it's going in, 40, 50, 60 hours a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a lot of fried boxes there, and I was watching it and just trying to understand what caused these things to happen. What are those people doing differently than I have on my charging stations, on my setups? Because trust me, I'm not a qualified electrician, but I wired it, so it is kind of scary. Because I know that when it comes down to the electricity boxes, it's not just like plug this in here, plug that in there. They really have to figure things out and make sure that they get the proper wire size, and then they get into different phases of electricity, and then it actually gets pretty complicated. And if you don't have the right stuff, you have what ended up on Sandy Monroe show which is melted equipment and possibly fires.
Daniel's saying, as an electrician, I'm calling all of my old installs to ask if I can inspect them to be safe.
Yeah, come visit me.
Because amps equals heat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if I got inspected by the city, I would be in like serious trouble.
Uh-huh.
And I hope nobody from my hometown's watching this.
Yes, your hometown of Dubuque, Iowa.
Yeah, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. How difficult is it for you to keep your fleet charged with just two electrical spigots?
It's actually not that hard, being that we usually have cars out, so they're usually not all here at the same time because they're out on trips and they'll be gone for a couple days. There have been moments where it's like suddenly like they all show up, and there's been one or two times where I've been like, okay, I'm going to charge this car on my way to the airport. There's a charging station, and it's free because it's part of when you buy the car they give you that. So I'm going to stop there and I'll sit there for 30 minutes and get frustrated with Electrify America, or sometimes it's happened with the Tesla. I'll charge it at a station on the way to the airport, which then I have to pay for, just because of timing, and plus the fact that the charging state the DC chargers are going to go a whole lot faster in my house. So
Yeah.
it can get complex. Right now we only have three EVs because one's in the shop. But when we're back up to five, hopefully in another month or so, yeah, we've got to be very careful. It's another aspect of managing an EV fleet, especially when you have two chargers. And I'm not sure adding a third charger is going to help because of the fact we'll trip the breaker.
Right.
We're then using too much electricity.
And you did get a comment saying if you're constantly tripping your breakers, you're also frying your wires.
Yeah. Well, I'm not constantly frying or tripping my breakers. It happened once when I wasn't thinking about it. On the weekend, my pool runs during the day. Otherwise, it normally runs at night. So on that sub panel is my pool comes off of that and goes to another box. But I have the two charging stations on that sub panel. So I was running the I think it was 11 kilowatts and 7 kilowatts, which was the 60 amp and the 40 amp, and then the pool kicked in, and then it tripped the breaker. And I was like, oh, why'd that happen? Oh, because it's Saturday, my pool's running at the same time. So on weekends I charge one at a time.
So let's see here. And yeah. How's Lucid's volume looking these days?
There's a buttload of cars everywhere. It's starting to look like Shanghai or something.
It's
Because,
nice.
well, the only I think they're having issues getting them picked up on the with the car haulers,
Hmm.
because we're not seeing cars getting taken out in like we were a week or two ago. I mean, there was one day we saw 11 car haulers, and
Wow.
right now the parking lot is completely packed, and they are also storing cars on a construction road out on the west side, and they've got doubled up rows of cars just going back. We counted in the video last Friday, and I think we counted like 80 of them right there outside the parking lot. And when we went by yesterday, there was even more there. And the parking lot is absolutely packed, and they need to get some car haulers in there because they're screwing up on logistics for getting these things delivered. The same issue that Tesla said they had. They couldn't get the cars delivered because
That's what Charlie just said in my chat. Tesla had car hauler issues during ramps. Setting up a logistics line is challenging. It's especially when you're ramping, you don't always know. You can't predict exactly how many car haulers you need, and then it's somebody else has got them, and now they're charging you expedite fees, and yeah, yeah. Jason says, "Oh, they're probably just waiting for the badges." Yeah,
yeah,
like a Ford.
yeah, that's possible. Now,
It's
there a lot of the cars that are out there are wrapped with their delivery wrap, which has changed. It's not the car cover, where they put a
right.
plastic sheet on the hood, plastic sheet on the trunk, and those cars I'm 100% sure are ready to be delivered. They just need trucks out there to take them. And I don't know if it's a manpower shortage or a car hauler shortage, but I think it's manpower.
You know how Tesla's been shipping the cars out of Texas, don't you?
Flying plane,
Trains.
trains,
There's a
yes.
train yard, what, 30, 40 miles away in Hutto? And as MD Hofsty points out, they are expanding the train yard. They're
Yeah.
putting in new additional lines there, little stubs for parking, if you will. I'm not
How
hip to
how
all the train lingo.
how long do you think it would take to put a train spur, uh, roughly 1,000 feet, to extend the train line 1,000 feet? You literally have a train line ends, like, let's say right here, and you go, we want to put another 1,000 feet that way. How long do you think that could possibly take, or how much money? Not that expensive.
It's yeah, I don't know anything about the financial part of it. Just in terms of the time to lay track, you can lay track very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
It's all the permits that get you.
Yeah, but Lucid's got away with Casa Grande, where if they wanted to get that train line, that spur put in, it could be done quickly.
Hmm.
It could probably be done cheaply. It's a matter of getting the permits. And there's an existing active train line, I'm going to say 120 feet from Lucid property.
Wow.
The spur ends across the street. So you literally walk across the street, and there's the railroad track. It ends. And it's active because I've seen cars on there. There are other companies on that line that are putting stuff onto the train, and they're getting shipped off. So, I mean, if it was me, I'd be like, we need to get this going. There's, we've got to figure out a train solution because they could get a lot of cars out of that lot really quick.
Thomas is saying that laying railroad track is about $1 million a mile, which seems
Cheap?
reasonable to me
Oh, yeah. I mean, I could probably buy 10 feet.
because you don't need much.
Yeah. They really don't need much. Uh, uh, they don't even have to do the full line that they're planning on in the future. Just enough to get the cars in there and literally zip them on there. You ever see a video of them loading those car hauler trains?
Yes.
Yeah, they're quite intense. I would almost be afraid to, because they drive through each car. They'll go through 10 cars and just zipping along until they get to the end where they're supposed to be, and the people
Yeah.
they've got like this much space on either side, and they're just.
Yeah.
Phew.
So speaking of charging, renters struggle to access public electric vehicle charging as cities look for solutions.
Oh, you're talking about our renters, are you?
Huh?
The renters. Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't see the segue.
Oh, yeah. Uh, in Europe, what they'll do a lot of times is put just power on all the street lights. So if you don't have off-street parking, the street parking has lights. I did see a guy complaining, I don't remember, on Twitter, I think, saying, yeah, but where I live, I can't, there's no off-street parking. I'm like, so you're parking on the street? Yeah. Well, they could put it on the light poles. My city doesn't have street lights. I was like, buddy, come on.
No, that is real.
In cities so dense that you don't have off-street parking,
There.
I mean, maybe, but it's pretty unlikely.
I'm going to disagree with you.
You think so?
Yeah. I mean, you could have streetlights, but they're like 200 feet from each other, and
Yeah, but
that's not adequate.
it's uh, one trickle charger every 200 feet would be a tremendous improvement. But all right. We have a really large challenge right now with making it easy for people to charge who live in apartments. A non-profit cities have to understand that promoting electric cars is also part of their sustainable transportation strategy. Yeah, yeah, we're going to need more level twos. I've been saying for years that what they need to do is put low cost, slow ish chargers at places like movie theaters and malls.
Yeah.
Places where, because I don't need a 20-minute charge, I need a 2-hour charge.
Hmm. So let's say they start installing charging stations like parking meters, okay, at every spot. Who do you think should pay? Should that be free, or should there be a charge associated with it?
But it definitely shouldn't be free. Um, but it doesn't. But it would be great if it wasn't a profit center. I don't want, the city already. I believe in traffic fines for safety reasons, but not traffic fines for revenue reasons. And when cities get in the business of making money, it just opens the door for corruption, which is something politicians do not need.
The door's already open for corruption. They take taxes and they've got all the money that they need. But if the government, whether it's local, state, or whatever it is, started putting these in and they're making a little bit of profit, it does help to offset costs for other things, and it could actually lower taxes because you're paying
Mhm.
for. Because remember, there is no gas tax. They would have to replace the gas tax, and this would be one way to do it, because it's, I know in Arizona I think it's 18 cents or something. I don't know, but different states have different gas taxes. So people aren't buying gas. How do you get that money back? Oh well, a state charging station, and
Would you believe you convinced me?
okay.
Yeah, because you're right. We do have to do something. In my state, we have an EV tax, and I don't remember. It's like $350 a year or something, because you're not paying gas tax. It's like, well, I mean, thanks, I guess, but it'll be, yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
and in my state, up until this year, you got license plates that were free or nearly free.
right.
And license plates in Arizona are extremely expensive. For example, I have to pay for the plates for my RV. I think it was around here somewhere, but I got a bill in the mail. This is for a 1 year. It's based on the value of your vehicle, and since the value of my RV, it's 1 year old. So last year I actually paid more than this, but this year, November 1st, or November 28th or 30th, the end of November, I have to pay about $1,500 for my license plate,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
crazy. Now the EVs, they're free. So
I
like
mean,
my
yeah.
model, they were free up until this year, up until January 1st. I got plates for 5 years on my Model Y, so I do not have to
Wow.
renew it for 5 years. The Model S, they changed it because it's one of those things. It's a scale. It's going down. I only had to pay for 50%, about 50% of what I would have had to pay for $100,000 car.
Now you have a yoke, right?
I have a yoke, yes.
How do you like it?
My opinion of the yoke is if I was to drive that car every day, I'd be okay with it. But because I'm always driving different cars and every time I get in a car, the buttons for everything is in a different spot. So you know how when you're driving your car, you get a muscle memory. When you go into another car that might not have a shifter up here and you're used to that, you reach for something that's not there. So I don't have that muscle memory for my cars anymore, where I know where everything is, where and you're good with that, because every time I want to turn the AC on, I have to look and see what I'm trying, which car I'm in.
Right.
If I was in the Model S all the time, wouldn't do things like accidentally hitting the turn signals, which I do constantly. I beep the horn by mistake. The Because the buttons are in a place that you're not used to, and you end up hitting it. Um, I love the fact that the turn signal
Question
turns
for
off.
Jeff in the chat, real quick.
Yeah,
Jeff, how long did it take you to get used to your yoke on your Model X? Go ahead. Sorry.
I
You
don't know.
well, so how do you think? How do you like the S? What's your impression?
I effing love it. Um, I raced a late model Mercedes, I think an SLR, SLK convertible, and I looked it up later, and it turns out that that's only available as an AMG model. It's like a
Oh,
$140,000 car, and he came up on me fast and went past me. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to go past him, and we went back and forth for several miles, and I beat him every time. I'd let him catch up. I would take off. He would try and take off, and I kept beating him. The car is so much fun. I was driving 132 miles per hour. I've never driven that fast in my life, but I felt like I was driving 70,
wow.
which is obviously a problem because I don't normally drive 132 miles per hour, but you don't realize it. You're just holding the wheel. I've driven cars fast before, and you feel like you're like on the verge of death, and you're like, okay, I'm going to back off because I'm going to die.
Right.
Um, I just, I was just the only thing that made it feel like I was driving 132 was all the cars going backwards.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but and yeah, I kicked his butt easily. It was a lot of fun,
Yeah.
and
Well,
I
and it's
should go
crazy
to jail
just
for
how much
that.
power, how easy it is to get so much torque out of an electric motor. Because if the Ford Lightning can break 4 seconds, that's a fast car, man.
Yeah, that is very fast. Oh, and we had another race this past week. Polestar 2 versus Ionic 5. Who do you think won?
Polestar versus Polestar.
It did,
Yeah.
but just barely. Riley thought the Ionic was going to beat it, but the Polestar pulled away every time. The
Hmm.
Ionic's pretty quick for what it is. I think the EV6 though is a little bit quicker. I think they did something on that to make it just a little bit quicker. But yeah, Polestar beat the Hyundai, but barely.
Uh, so Sandy Monroe is very displeased with the ID4. He had a chance to look at one, and he was telling. I got to see him give a presentation on Saturday, and it was he hates it. I mean, hates it.
Does he
And
really?
yeah, and one thing he was saying, because it was a room full of Tesla people, said, "Show of hands, how many people here got an over-the-air update in the last year? Okay, last 4 months. Okay, last week. Okay, probably today, right? Everybody." Volkswagen has yet to do an over-the-air update. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
E for Electric was really pushing hard for Volkswagen, like suspiciously aggressively in favor of Volkswagen. And apparently he finally dumped his ID3, whatever he had, because he's like, there's a bunch of stupid little problems that are all over the air fixes and they can't do it. I'm out.
Yeah. And it's interesting because we have a story on that a little bit later on updates.
Okay, so we should probably talk about South Korea and the US in intense conversations over the EV tax credits. Korea feels that our that our EV tax credits are protectionist and anti-competitive, and they are.
Yeah, they 100% are, but I also love them because it's going to bring a lot of manufacturing to the United States. So I'm kind of conflicted because I know that it's not right, but it also is very good for the United States. Now, I think that they're going to try and work. They're talking about working out a deal. I found a deal. I think I came up with one for them, fairly simple. Uh, what is it? Hyundai and Kia said that they're going to build these cars in the United States. All right. Well, as long as you're committed to it, go ahead. We'll give you the tax credit on the cars you have now, but you got to have this done by this date, or we're sending you a bill for all these tax credits we gave, and then you can have your tax credits, and it would work out for everyone. It's a sacrifice on everyone's part.
I think it's all going to come down to, is it legal or not? And if it is, then it stays, and that's that.
But
Jeff pointed out, oh, go ahead.
the problem with it being legal or not is it's in the international courts, and they don't really have much ability to enforce these
No,
things.
no, no, they don't. um, so Jeff pointed out Volkswagen can't do software. So Volkswagen's approach was brilliant. They took a problem where you need a core team of really competent engineers, and since they couldn't get them, they hired 10,000 dumbasses and put. So here's the deal, guys. I want you all to. We're gonna paint the Mona Lisa. All 10,000 of us at once. Grab a brush. We're doing this, and it came out looking exactly like you would imagine.
Homer Simpson. It looked like Homer Simpson, right?
Well, but you can't have 10,000
No,
people
no.
pushing all. I mean, it's so you're trying to invent an OS, and that's not easy to do for competent developers, let alone these guys. Can US cars go to Korea? I think the answer is yes, they can, but they typically don't. Korea is very proud of their domestic auto market.
I wonder what the how many Teslas like. What's How many Teslas are going to Korea? Are they coming from China or are they coming from Fremont?
I believe they're coming from China. Fremont doesn't really export except to Singapore and Taiwan because those countries do not accept Chinese cars. Even
Understood.
though Taiwan, met a guy from Taiwan once. I'm like, Taiwan, is that part of China? He goes, who would say that? And I said, like a billion people. There's like a billion people who say that.
Like 1.4 billion people.
There's like 1.4 billion people who are pretty sure that this independent nation with their own navy and government is part of China.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why I just call China West Taiwan.
That would be east. Oh, China's West Taiwan? Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. I don't know
I had
how.
to pause too because
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I would. Yeah. I was thinking Taiwan. You were going to say Taiwan is East China. Um, well, all I know is that's going to turn into some sort of shit show someday, and I'm not
how
looking.
could that be?
Well,
So
it's going to happen.
how?
You know what's going to happen? It's
No.
going to happen when we get to the China article.
So the
Oh,
hydrogen fuel cell cars not
J-
doing so
JJ, are you here?
hot.
I picked this article for you, and I don't see you in the chat. Might
He was
be
here.
he was here earlier. Maybe he actually has to do his 5 minutes of work that he does.
He's got me beat. Sales of hydrogen fuel cell cars down to 153 for the entire quarter, 82% less than a year ago.
Um,
Yeah,
that's horrible.
that's horrible. Jeff pointed out earlier it costs $2 million to put in a stall. Uh, and in Germany, they just closed a bunch quietly because of lack of demand.
Yeah,
Not great.
that is pretty bad. Um, don't see this going on for much longer. So
No.
that's it's really kind of sad. Um,
Toyota, 79 down 88%. Hyundai, 74 down 50%. All other models combined, zero down 100%.
yeah. Ironically, I saw yesterday in yesterday's flyover, we saw a hydrogen semi truck getting loaded up on a trailer for delivery. One of the betas or the gammas from Nikola.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not going to take long for Nikola to have the highest hydrogen sales in the U.S. because there ain't no one else doing it.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
I will
well,
be
there
curious
is,
to see
but
how far they push with hydrogen.
Nikola?
Um, yeah,
No, they're going to push far with it.
right. But sometimes it's not up to you how much success you get. I'm not saying they won't pour money into it.
Oh,
I'm
I think they've got the partners set up that they're going to be putting in these hydrogen stations. Decided on a number of 60, which is a real number, and as opposed to what Mr. Milton said several years ago, with 9 million or whatever he said. But 60 hydrogen stations are enough to actually cover the United States from point A to point B to point C to fill up, and that's the plan right now. And I'm sure they'll have additional ones, but it's just they're going to have to do the same thing that Tesla did when they put in their supercharger station, and start putting them on the freeways and the highways where there is the most access.
Oh, we'll see how it goes.
I know you still don't believe in it.
Oh, yeah, for automotive use, I don't yeah, I don't. So but
Oh,
we can
I don't know about automotive use. I'm talking about trucks right now, the
yeah,
semis.
yeah. So China, how they doing with
Oh
electric cars?
gosh, I'm gonna quote Sandy Monroe. China's gonna eat our lunch, and this is why Taiwan is doomed. When China's electric car sales gets to 90%, and right now it's at 26% of fully electric. Once they start getting that energy independence that they are trying to achieve, Taiwan is screwed. I think that's going to be a big role in what China does, because right now, if they did something against Taiwan, They saw what happened to Russia. They they end up getting their resources cut off. If they have their own energy and they can produce it on their own, it's a big roadblock right now that's keeping them from being the bully with East Taiwan, West Taiwan, or whatever the hell you called it.
So I was going to share a couple sneak previews of my interview with Sandy. One of the questions I asked him was, "Who's going to be the first legacy company to go broke?" And he said he was very diplomatic about it because all of these people are still his customers in some
Yeah.
regard. And he said, "Well, I can't." And he hummed and hawed and he wouldn't give an answer. And I said, "Who's going to be number two in electric car sales in 2030?" And without hesitation, it's BYD. It's going to be BYD. They've got the batteries, they've got the cars, they're vertically integrated, they've got everything.
Aren't they number two right now?
Not in the world.
Who's number two in the world?
Well, I think, I'd have to check, but VW and Toyota are consistently the top two.
Well,
There are no Chinese in the top 10 yet.
but
Actually, they might be
BYD
now.
makes buses and trucks also that are electric.
Right,
It
but
do-
you're talking passenger cars.
okay.
I mean, Hyundai also makes tractors and heavy loaders, but
And cargo ships.
and cargo ships, yeah, and real estate.
And little fusion machines to make energy independent thing. They've got the fusion all handled.
It's a big company.
Yeah, they're in a lot. Yeah. So anyway, BYD 28.9%, which obviously quite the leader there because whatever SAIC stands for is at 11.3. Is that Stellantis?
That is also BuzzForks, I believe. But and my question is, who like if we're going to look at like the Wuling, does that count?
Not in
Who
my
counts
book.
it? Who?
Not,
But I mean, if one company makes it for another company, who counts? But it doesn't matter. And by the way, the BYD does include plug-ins. This is just electrified plug-in hybrids. I mean,
right, but there is 26% of their sales fully electric, not a
yeah,
hybrid.
right.
And
It's
that's incredible. What are we at in the United States? We just crossed 5%, and like
something
we're having
something
parties.
amazing like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So 26%. I mean, it's going to come to a point where the Chinese government's going to say, make ICE vehicles anymore, or you go to the camp.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I'm just going to move past that.
I
There
mean,
was a joke.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the type of government they have. They can do that.
Uh, there's a show called Murderville on Netflix that's very funny where the whole show is improvised. There's just a loose structure and they are comedians improvising the show. And it's a detective show. And Kumail Nanjiani told uh, Will Arnett, said, "Oh, you'll have to do an Indian accent, but don't do it racist." And Will's like, so he did a British accent because, oh, okay, that works. There are a
Yeah.
lot of British people.
The kind of
British accents.
irony, you can't do Indian accent, but you can do British, and that's totally cool. You can do Irish, and that's totally cool. Australian,
Mm,
cool. Do a Chinese accent. What the hell's wrong with you? You know?
uh-huh. Yeah. So it's too bad we ran out of time. You would have liked these next two stories, Bear.
Oh,
Feel like going over a couple minutes?
I'll go over a couple minutes for
Yeah, let's do it.
these two. Shall we
Because we've got
skip
fans.
skip
Fans,
the
I tell you.
yeah? We'll skip the Tesla update, right?
Oh, the Tesla update?
Yeah, we'll skip that one, right?
All right. I
Bye.
I'm way ahead of you. I don't know if I even opened that link. Would you buy a car at 19,000 over the MSRP? Majority say they would, according to one survey.
Yeah, I saw this article and I could not share it. I had to share this. This is such a BS article. In Car and Driver, they only at one point let you know that it's BS because this survey was brought to you by who?
I
Dealer,
don't know. It couldn't. It's probably some independent, non-biased organization with a very sterling reputation. Is that what it is?
it's exactly what it isn't. It was put together by the
Oh,
dealerships.
by the Quantrell Auto Group of 3,361 car owners found that over a third of them said they had purchased a vehicle that they hadn't intended to when they started shopping. The other 65 said they'd be willing to spend up to 39% over MSRP. That doesn't mean they'd be happy about it.
Yeah. And I don't, I just, it, okay, so here it is. Keep in mind that an auto dealer group is behind this study and it may be serving people who were really ready to buy, but given the average new car price is over $48,000, 39% over MSRP is $19,000. I I haven't seen too many dealer adjustments at that rate. I have seen $25,000 on like a couple Broncos, but for the most part, they're 5, 10, and then you've got the Lightnings, which was out there briefly, some absurd amounts. But
Did you
really,
click the survey at the bottom? Are you willing to pay a markup?
oh, is it? Are you? Oh, I might have because I can't click on it now. But that's the survey at the bottom is 84% say never, maybe a little, but not that much is 16%.
Yeah. I'm at mine shows 15 and 85, but because I voted and every vote counts.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And yeah, would you be willing to buy a car at 19,000 over? If I don't have a choice, I will do it, but I will not be happy because you're not getting that money back. That's not part of the that depreciation goes out the window on day one.
it's doesn't even go. It's not even day one. It's just gone. It,
It's
it
just gone.
it's
Yeah.
it's like dropping a $19,000 diamond ring down the drain. You're not getting it back, and you're going to get nothing back for it. It's just gone.
Yeah.
And shame on these liars, liars, liars. But we have another article that really matches this quite well. Sympathy for the dealer. New car dealers just clocked their best year ever, and yet their future has never looked shakier. So right now, the deal at car dealerships, if you go in there and you complain to the salesman, and this has happened to me. Uh, I'm not paying $5,000 extra. There's nothing there for me. There's no reason you guys should get five, ten, $15,000 more just because you say you won't sell it to me, and you just don't want to give me a choice. So the salesman's response, and I've heard this more than once, is, "We have to do this. Look around. There's no cars. We have no inventory. The only way to keep the lights on is to put these markups on the car." Now, I personally don't believe that. Um, I've gone to several dealerships over my life where they were volume dealers and they would sell you the car $3,000, $4,000 below invoice because all they want to do is sell the car, move it out. It costs money to keep 300, 400 cars on a lot. Besides people to clean them and maintain them because they have to be cleaned, they have to be moved. You got a lot of tenants you got to pay, but you're paying interest on millions of dollars of cars. You're paying it every day.
Yeah,
All,
it's something like 2% a month,
mhm.
and it's their flooring cost is absolutely it it's a big expense that has to get passed along, and they're not paying it right now
They're not
because
paying.
I'm sure their terms are net 30 and they move it within 30.
They Yeah, a lot of them they move within two, or they're sold
Yeah.
before they get in there. All the
Yeah.
EVs are sold before they get in there, but but you still dealers build in a thing. I forget the name of it at this moment, but it's for advertising and uh, cleanup of the car. When I worked at a car dealership, there was the invoice price, and then they'd throw in like another $600 or $700, and that was supposedly to pay for the dealer's costs for just having the car there, and advertising, and it was just a made up number. And the only reason they put it in there was to make the salesman's commission less than it was, because
Oh, because he's paid on the sale price, not on the.
he's paid on the commission, and so they were always.
Yeah, of course they're gonna screw over each other.
Yes,
Why wouldn't they?
but that's what they do. So anyway, this article goes on talking about how dealerships are making more money than ever. Uh, they don't have to carry these cars. They don't have to carry a huge inventory. Um, and then it talks about their future and what are they going to do when they're the middlemen and they get cut out because they offer no value as a sales part. They have value in fixing your car. There's a part of this article though that talks about repairing vehicles, EVs, and how it's going to go. It's going to be they're going to fix the first 20% of problems with cars by doing over-the-air updates, and then the next 60 to 70% can be solved in the driveway by a mobile technician, and 15 to 20% you're going to have to take the car somewhere and fix it, and that's where these dealerships are going to turn into. But no longer bringing cars in, getting charged $300-400 for something that's maybe a software fix that takes them 5 or 10 minutes. So the dealerships are really digging their own grave. And I'm glad they're getting extra money because they're all going to be changing their entire business model in the coming future. But
Yeah.
this was a good read.
Yeah. And it's, boy, you're just going to flame out with they're going supernova, very
Mm-hmm.
bright for a very short time. Let them go. And I would tell them, guys, you gotta evolve and change. But the truth is, if there is a new model that is still some kind of dealership, these guys will move to it at the very last second they possibly can. Why would they give up all this free tasty money? But
Yeah.
we shall
It,
see.
it blows me away that a company like, let's say, Ford could make a beautiful Bronco, all upgraded, cost $50,000-55,000. They ship it off to the dealership. Ford is going to make maybe $4,000 off this Bronco. They literally went through the process of designing it, building it, making a production line, getting it shipped, and then the dealership's going to turn around. They've got their little bit of profit that they're going to get for selling the car, and then they're going to try and tack on anywhere from $5,000 to $25,000. Why should some dealership who's a middleman who gives you no value make $30,000 on this vehicle, and the manufacturer, the one who created it, gets like $4,000? If I'm going to pay extra, I would rather just pay it directly to Ford. I don't want
Yeah,
to. So
right.
if I know Jim Farley's watching this, I don't want to pay an extra $25,000, and that is one of the reasons why I don't have a Bronco. But yeah, direct sales. So if you scroll down further in this Car and Driver, you're going to see a map of the United States. You recognize the United States, right?
And there, I want to say I have family there.
Okay. I had some, but they got put into a camp.
Red, states where direct sales are okay with various qualifications and sometimes only for Tesla. Blue, states where direct sales are prohibited.
Yeah. So that's still crazy because that's all political corruption. There's nothing more than you're looking at a politically corrupt map, which is extremely sad. Tesla is smart. They're finding ways to work around it in every single state. For example, New Mexico. What do they have in New Mexico?
Tribal land.
Tribal land. And how many dealerships do they or sales centers do they have? Two now,
One or
right?
two? Two, I think it is.
Yeah.
I saw a great solution. Louisiana, the attorney general there just joined the lawsuit on behalf of the dealerships that Tesla is suing to allow direct sales in Louisiana. But I saw a great suggestion. What they should do is just put the sales center on a barge on the mighty Mississippi next to the casino. Perfectly legal, my friend. We're in international waters.
Right, right. Are you sure it's Louisiana? Because they look like they're on the map for red.
Uh, yeah, it is red, isn't it? Because that's Mississippi next to it, right?
To the
It's
left,
blue.
yeah, is Mississippi.
So I'm not sure.
Okay.
I was pretty sure because the joke doesn't work without the riverboat casinos. But that's all right. Either way.
Wait a minute. I might be screwing up my.
No,
Is that
no,
Missouri who's red?
no, no. It's Mississippi's red. I think
No, I didn't
it's
mean.
Texas,
I meant
Louisiana.
Mississippi.
So Louisiana's blue, and then Mississippi's red, and then yeah.
Oh, I just totally messed up my maps. And I didn't mean to say Missouri either. Is that Canada?
I'm not.
Okay, all right. Louisiana is blue.
Yeah,
Mississippi's red.
yeah.
Whew.
We'll get there. So
No.
Louisiana's blue, guys. Thank you, William. Yes, we should know better.
I
We
was
should know better.
I drove from Texas to Louisiana this year. You think I know that I didn't go through another state?
You would think. All
Nope.
right. Well, we are well over time.
Holy
It
crap.
is it is not only your anniversary, our anniversary, Bear, but it is my anniversary with my wife. So we're gonna go have dinner.
going to sing for you.
Oh,
Happy anniversary to you. All right, that's it. I don't want to. I don't want to kill the
Yeah.
internet.
oh, it's
Happy anniversary
yeah.
to you. Happy anniversary to you.
I can. Here we go.
You
There. Now
did
you're
you just
muted.
mute me? You mute?
I did.
You muted. You really muted me.
I did. I unmuted.
How are you
just
answering me? How are you answering me?
shout.
If you can't
Because I
hear
just
me,
muted you on the broadcast. I can still.
do you have
hear
subtitles on me?
Speakers on. Oh,
Do you-
that's what I should do. Is I should mute you and then put in my own custom subtitles.
All right. We're gonna have to call this. This is
Yeah.
out of control anniversary edition.
I do want to thank my patrons, including newest patron Kelly Sloan, Kelly and Bert. If you're watching, I don't know if they watch the second channel, but thank you so much. And yeah, away we go. Good stuff.
All right, I want to thank my patrons. I didn't get any new ones, but hey, I really do appreciate you guys. The support that you give me is fantastic, and I love you all for that, including you, Brian. I love you too. This is a great episode, great
And yeah,
anniversary episode.
yeah, happy anniversary episode. I am having fun with this. It will go great. We'll have fun. So here's to another good year, and I will see everybody
Cheers.
soon.
Bye bye, everyone.